For this topic, we will be unpacking standards. I have chosen a standard from the ESS for schools for writing in year 4. So the one I chose is to proofread for spelling and punctuation errors, including the use of the apostrophe for possession, speech punctuation, and use of the comma for fronted adverbials. The reason why I chose this standard is because children will have the chance to go back to their writing and improve it before it is marked by me, so they can show how much they have learned and how they can spot their mistakes, which is a very good skill to develop, to identify their own mistakes, like spelling and punctuation, and also to improve their writing. They will be proofreading for these mistakes and also to add, change, and improve the information in it. So they will be editing capital letters, lowercase letters, and spelling mistakes, also missing words and the words that don't make sense. And they will be adding paragraphs and spacings between their words. So for the targets, the planning, they are going to be adding speech. They will be adding new line for the new speaker in a story. They will be adding powerful adjectives, adverbs, fronted adverbials, verbs in the past, paragraphs, punctuation, and checking for their mistakes. The questions that I will ask them is, what are the features in a story? And how can they make a story more interesting for the reader? This will be a 5-day planning. Linked to our IPC topic, which will be fashion. So previously, they will read a book called Tyra the Designer Fairy, and they will have to read it in class, talk about it, get new vocabulary, and then we will start innovating the story, which means they will be changing parts of the story, which is this planning that I'm showing right now. They will be role-playing the story, and then they will get in a circle. We will all get in a circle as a class, and one by one we'll be changing parts of the story. Then they will come to the class to draw a story map, and if they finish as an extended activity, they will be adding adjectives, speech, adverbs, and fronted adverbials to their story map. The second activity, or the second lesson that will be taught regarding this standard, will be to understand the features of a story. They have previously learned this in year 3. So in this class, they will be recapping the features of the narrative story. They will be writing them down on the board and asking the children to give some examples of the features. Also, I will use the last chapter of the book to model how to identify the features of a story. I will be underlining the verbs in the past in green, adjectives in blue, speech in purple, adverbs in orange, and punctuation in brown. If we see other features, we will choose another color to underline it. That will be the way to model the activity. Then they will be working in pairs, and in pairs they will be underlining they will choose the colors that they would like to underline the features of the chapter that they have together. For the third lesson, they will be learning how to proofread a text. So as a class, they will be watching a video, how to identify the mistakes and how to improve the sentences to make them sound better. We will practice with an activity sheet, the first page of the 3 sisters is made to be edited, so it has lots of mistakes. So as a class, we will check some of them. And then they have differentiated activities according to their ability. And some of them will be editing just the capital letters, the lowercase letters, and spelling mistakes. That will be the group working with the teacher, which is the lower group. The middle group will be working with the TA, editing also this, punctuation mistakes, but they will be adding the missing words and changing the words that don't make sense. And for group number 1, they will be working independently, but the teacher will be coming to check that they're understanding what they're doing. They will be also checking that the paragraphs make sense and where they can add a new paragraph and the spaces between the words. And then they will peer assess their work to see that they're understanding the activity. For the fourth lesson, they will be planning a story. So again, they will be we will recap the vocabulary from our IPC lessons like jewelry and meters and fabric and all this vocabulary that we have learned already. And they will go in and draw into their books a story map and plan their invented story related to fashion. They will have to add to these story maps the adjectives, the speech that they would like to have into their stories, adverbs, fronted adverbials, and they will also have to add most of the vocabulary they have learned in literacy and in IPC. Also, for the plenary, to end the story, they will call a friend. They will pretend they're ringing a friend, and they will just tell them their invented story, and their friends will give them feedback. The last lesson will be the hot ride. We call it that way in my school, the hot ride, which is how we end a unit. They use a different book. They use a red book to do this hot rides. In this case, they will be writing a story. So they write their story, the story they planned the day before, and they will have to add all the features of a story. They will have a rubric to follow. I will give them the rubric so they know what is expected from them, and they will have to use another color at the end to go back and show me that they have edited and improved their work. This is the rubric that will be used to mark their work. When they're editing, they have to go through it, checking that they have added everything. The idea for them is to score 3 in every item so that they show that they are secure in writing narrative. If you go to the first part, which is ideas, they can score 3 if there's evidence of proofreading, editing, and improvement. So I can check that with the other color that they used. And the conventions and the sentence fluency and everything has to be added into their story. I hope you enjoy this unpacking of the standard of proofreading. Just leave me your comments. Thank you so much.